Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from giantbomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the first reviews for a major new release. And one of the biggest games of the year gets its release date. It's going to be a good one because we have M.H. Williams on the show. Mike, how are you doing?
Good. Hello and good morning to all of the Giant Bomb folks out there.
Yeah, appreciate you you hanging out with us and doing this. That's awesome. It's been a minute. You know, there used to be a time where it's like I could just count on running into you pretty regularly, and now it's like I'm not. We're not in the same circles anymore. I don't know, man. How you been?
Good. I moved over to the other side. I am not here representing my employer in any way, shape, or form.
Would never suggest such a thing. Of
I'm
course
just
not.
here to talk. I keep up with the magic, but as you said, I don't get to come to many of the events. So we don't get to see each other anymore, even if I'm always here in spirit, and I'm always there in the streams.
Absolutely, yes. Oh yeah, I'm always thinking about you, Mike. So yeah, absolutely. Let's make this happen. I'm very excited about it. You've been playing anything recently that you're excited about? You excited about these Resident Evil reviews that we'll talk about here in a second?
Very excited about Resident Evil. I mean, it was one of the least hidden rumors that Leon Kennedy was coming. So when they finally confirmed it, that's my boy. That's my goat. I need to keep him going. And it's good that they can, I guess, end this trilogy, this rough trilogy with Leon and the new character. So I'm looking forward to it. I also have, I'm a big MMO player, so
Right.
World of Warcraft Midnight, the next expansion starts early access this weekend as well. And then also Next Fest. I got a bunch of Next Fest games that I just picked up.
Anything that you can give me early warning on that I might be able to pick up in Fantasy Critic or something like that, or check out to play to enjoy myself as well.
Let me see. Off the top of my head, looking at the list right now, we got Densha Attack, which is sort of an on the rails, real anime style train game,
extreme train,
multi-train drifting. Alabaster Dawn, the demo is out for that. That's the new game from the Crosscode folks.
Right.
There's a couple of I'll call them throwbacks, homages. There's Bomb Bun, which is like Bomberman, but you're a bunny. Rollin' Rascal, which is a throwback to the Sonic Adventure games. Parasite Mutant, which is a Parasite Eve homage. And Spy Drops, which is like the old Metal Gear games.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that, and I was like, oh, I should check that out as well. I'm planning to check out Toxic Commando. I want to see what that John Carpenter Toxic Commando game is like. But Eternal Life of Goldman, that's one I'm going to check out as well. Maybe on our Friday stream where we're going to play some of these Next Fest demos.
Yeah. And Replaced is the demos out for that. That is fantastic so far.
It's good. Okay. All right. Good. That's a relief. You always worry, like after so long of being in development, which we showed this off a few days ago. I had Jan show the trailer to remind everybody which game this was. After so long, I'm like, there's a chance it was taking so long because they just couldn't find the fun. But it sounds like they got something here. So, yeah, excellent. I always like the Next Fest, even if I don't get a chance to play a ton. So many people do that there's like invariably something cool rises to the top and gets put on my list of things to eventually check out. All right. We should explain ourselves. We're Giant Bomb. We're independent games media out here on our own. No corporations, nothing like that. We just have you. If you go to giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member, you can ensure that we get to keep making the stuff we like to make, the stuff you like us to keep making. You also get you ad-free versions of the shows and other goodies, including Grub Snacks Premium, the 9 Lives of Mr. Mistopheles, Marry Me Tomodachi. There's a lot of fun stuff happening on this website right now, and you could be a part of it and get the full fat version of Giant Bomb by going to giantbomb.com/join. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Resident Evil Requiem reviews. They have just gone live. A bunch of reviews came in. I played this game. I finished it on the Switch 2, and I loved it quite a bit. I would give it 5 stars. Like it was, oh yeah, this is one of those games where I can immediately place it into my pantheon of favorite games. It is like maybe not the best Resident Evil, but it's very close. It's among the best Resident Evils, is how I would probably frame it. Its biggest sin, Mike, it left me wanting a lot more on like both sides of its coin. You know, there's the Grace side, there's the Leon side. It is very well paced, so you never feel like you're left doing anything for too long. There are 2 elongated sections where in the beginning you play as Grace, later for a longer period of time you play as Leon. Both of those are very good. And maybe the one, like the biggest complaint is you've seen the one with Leon before, and you've seen what it looks like when it's extrapolated into a full game, and then it can withstand a full game. But so we get a condensed version of that, and that's very noticeable. I know why they do that though, because I think the number one complaint I hear most frequently for a Resident Evil game, I think if you were to ask people, like, what is most often your issue with Resident Evil? Oh, that last act isn't great. This is a game of like 3 first acts, basically. And they just did that. And then, you know, it has its finale. And that is also the weakest part of this game, but it's not like it's a problem. It's also fun. I'll just say it feels like a game fully informed by a company that has done this a lot and knows what it takes to make a good one. And it's all just the good stuff. So very, very into it. It is doing very well on OpenCritic, where I'm going to refresh just to see if this is still true. Yeah, 90 on OpenCritic. Eurogamer's Matt Wales gave it a 5-star review and says Capcom makes Resident Evil's 30th anniversary, or marks Resident Evil's 30th anniversary with a stellar return that's both a masterful bit of suffocating horror and a nostalgic, fan-thrilling victory lap for the legendary series. Jade King, shouts out to them over at The Gamer, said, while I can't speak in specifics, Capcom has once again assembled multiple new pieces on the series' board that I cannot wait to see it start moving around. I want to see where these beloved characters go and how stakes continue to be taken to places once thought unimaginable. And then Dan Reichert from Giant Bomb, some newbie, I don't know here, gave it 4.5 stars and says, Resident Evil Requiem is an excellent culmination of everything Capcom has learned during 30 years of making this franchise, and it serves as a tantalizing glimpse of what its future may hold. You can read that review on the website right now, everybody, giantbomb.com. Mike, what do you think?
I'm excited. So the Switch 2 version, it was Gucci?
Yeah, see, I'm like glad I played this version because I would have had the same question. Yes, it had. So the majority of the time it's running at 60 frames per second. I did some frame rate testing. I got the teardrop tool out and looked at it just to be sure. And for the most of the time, it's running at a solid 60. And then you get a frame rate drop because there's a bit much happening. And that's like when there are multiple of these zombies walking around the chronic care center or something like that. And the game's accounting for all that. You could tell it's probably a CPU side thing. The drops are noticeable. And like when they are big, like a lot of times it'll go from 60 to 50 frames per second and kind of dip in that area. And on the handheld with that screen, I think they kind of use a G-Sync technology. You don't notice that all that much. It's a little bit more noticeable when you're playing docked on a screen that maybe can't account for that quite as well. But there's occasional situations where it really drops, and that was a little bit of annoying. I'll say overall, whenever I was playing, I wasn't thinking about that all that much, almost never. And when I was done, it was like, yeah, no, that was the real full Resident Evil Requiem experience. I did not have some lesser experience because I played on the Switch 2. It just felt like another version of that game that is slightly downgraded a little bit. That said, it's $70, so if you have your choice and you want to play it in perfect, pristine quality, yeah, there are options to do that, and you should, especially if you're going to primarily play on a television.
Yep. I'm probably going to play on PC. I've been looking forward to it. I'm glad that they didn't make the same misstep with Resident Evil 6. Sorry, RE6 fans out there, in trying to do the split because they've sort of established a nice split between RE7's more Ethan Winters weak man, and then Village and RE4 remakes, more action packed. So I'm glad they found a nice spot there. Does this feel like it's capping off what feels like a trilogy and
It,
moving towards something new, or
Yeah, it's like what links it has to like in terms of storytelling to Seven and Village are not like super apparent. This does
Mm,
like set up a lot of new villains, and it is about Grace and how she fits into the story. And then there's some like new villains that pop up and like suggestions of other things that are happening. And there's definitely some other characters name dropped and stuff like that. Of course there are. It's Resident Evil. It doesn't feel like a capper of a trilogy story wise in terms of I
okay.
think them like messing around with the RE engine, getting that up to speed, doing 3 games kind of in that vein, and then bringing the ideas, like you said, of Seven and Village together into one game and going back and forth between them. All of that does feel like a gameplay trilogy, and it does feel like it's capping some ideas off. Uh, I will say, like, I am a casual Resident Evil lore connoisseur. Like, I'm someone who enjoys it on a vibe based level. Like when I'm watching, what's the incomprehensible Chris Nolan movie about the pincer movement? Jan, what am I looking for? Tenet.
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 Yeah.
Yep.
I watch Tenet, and I'm not trying to pay attention to the story because I know it's going to be nonsense, and I'm not. Just give me the vibes. That's what I'm doing here as well, and the vibes are really good. Like they deliver on something that's like, yeah, I could tell that guy is evil and campy, and I love that. And oh my god, I can't believe this action sequence they just threw in here with this guy. That's a really good time. And people are going to think it's stupid or a lot of fun, depending on what they want from their Resident Evil. But that's always been Resident Evil. So,
Yep.
yeah, just extremely happy with this game. Capcom is on their stuff with this one.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it, and rumored also uh RE0 Code Veronica remakes. I'm excited to see what they also do with those,
Same.
because those games are, to be honest, full teardown games. Just tear it down to the studs and rebuild. And
Rebuild it on
I'm
top of that. Yep.
looking forward to seeing what new Capcom does with that.
Yep, I'm like I said with this game, it feels like they've learned every lesson and they know what to do with those lessons learned and how they could apply that to like a 0 to improve that game. That's like really exciting. And also it's like it's good I think that this game is running so well on the Switch too because Capcom says they're serious about supporting that. And I think we can expect all those games going forward to probably launch on this device day and date.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are going to be like, that was a really good experience. We're going to want to keep showing up for Capcom's games. And yeah, you could do that here now. All right, let's get back over to my rundown. Let's get into the latest from this Xbox leadership shakeup. Xbox CEO says new hardware announcements are coming, quote, soon. This is from Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. The Xbox Series X/S generation has been an expensive console cycle lately, as the price of hardware and Game Pass subscriptions has increased in recent years. New Xbox CEO Asha Sharma has teased that news on the next generation of Xbox is coming up, and that Microsoft also wants to protect the investment that its player base has in the Xbox ecosystem. That seems to be like one of the points she's making. I bet that's one of the things like when she gets handed a doc of like what things are most important to our most loyal customers. It's like the people who spent thousands of dollars buying games being able to continue to have access to those games, they care a lot about that. And it sounds like she's got the memo on that at the very least. She says, Xbox players have thousands of dollars invested in money and time too. It's incredibly important for me to understand that and protect that, Sharma said to Windows Central. I am committed to returning to Xbox. I'm committed to, quote, returning to Xbox as like the new strategy. And that starts with console, that starts with hardware. You will hear more about that soon. We'll have some announcements coming up. You will see us collectively investing here. What's your read on this, Mike?
I mean, we're going to get into it later because I can see the notes. I do think they are going to launch the new hardware, and I do think they're going to give it another generation to just see where everything goes. Um, Prominent hardware leaker Moore's Law It's Dead says that the AMD Magnus, which is going to be the core of the next Xbox, has been pretty much fully taped out and is ready to go to manufacturer testing. He says it's pretty much like the board itself is as done as it's going to be. As AMD prepares for their launch of RDNA 5, which is going to be their next consumer cards and also what's going to be in the next Xbox. So I think it is going to happen, but I think it is more of a um, oh, we already have the train moving,
Yeah.
rather than
Hard to
a
steer this ship now away from wherever it was headed. Yeah.
yeah. At the best they can do, in acknowledgement of all the issues with storage and RAM, thanks to all of the AI stuff, is maybe delay it. And there were rumors out there that that's what Sony is thinking about
Oh
doing.
yeah.
Um, but I think Microsoft might just cut its losses, uh, and launch it and see what they can do.
Right.
But we operate in an industry that spirals in either direction. When you have a success, people want to jump on the success. You see that with things like, Elden Ring, Peak, like people who aren't even really engaging in the thing, just jumping on the thing to be a part of the conversation.
Right.
But the opposite of that is once something starts spiraling down, like an MMO, a Concord, a High Guard, it keeps
The rats jump ship.
spiraling
Yeah.
down, and it's going to be real hard for Microsoft to convince people, I think, to buy another console.
Right. I mean, the communicate, like, it's going to be kind of hard for Sony to convince people to buy
Yeah,
a PlayStation 6, let alone Microsoft convince someone to buy the next Xbox, because the PlayStation 6 is going to look a lot like a PlayStation 5. It'll look better, but it's going to be super expensive. And what's the marquee feature? No one knows, including Sony. So then you apply all of that same truth to Xbox, and then on top of that, the vibes are off. So I mean, let's take her at her absolute literal word here, where it's like that starts with hardware. You will hear more about that soon. We'll have announcements like you'll see us collectively investing here. Uh, if that starts with hardware, do you think there's a chance that they could redefine Xbox with the launch of this next hardware enough to leave a lot of this baggage behind, or is this like permanently attached to them? This sense that things are spiraling down.
it's you're not going to be able to reverse that with the next hardware. It's gonna basically be a generation of rebuilding trust. So maybe they
Yeah.
launch the next hardware, it maybe doesn't sell, but they're committed and they stick to it, and maybe they reverse some decisions that bring players back in. The exclusives is probably the biggest one. We're going to talk about that later. Um, but I also think that ship has sailed, so I don't know what they could do to bring people back into the fold in a meaningful way. Uh, and even if they do everything right, that's going to take an entire generation. And I think the wins of that aren't going to happen until whatever would be the Xbox after that.
Yeah, and it's like at this point, like it's hard to imagine what that world looks like in general, let alone specifically for Xbox. Okay, if they are going to launch, like, well, it sounds like they're going to launch new hardware. When they do, if the rebuilding of the Xbox brand does start with hardware, I think the next step obviously could be exclusives. And we've heard this conversation begin as people were asking Asha Sharma, or at least her account on social media, hey, what about exclusives? Are those going to come back to Xbox? In this interview that she did with Windows Central, she once again does not rule it out. At least that's how Darren Bonthus over at GameSpot framed it. Video game exclusives have been a big draw for years now, but it's a strategy that Microsoft appears to have abandoned over recent years. Microsoft has released more titles from its first-party studios across multiple platforms, like the PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch consoles, and several upcoming games are also set to launch for these systems in the future. But could Microsoft ever return to having exclusive games? New Xbox CEO Asha Sharma isn't ruling out a return to the old console ways, depending on the situation at hand. In a quote, right now I need to learn candidly about the why of these decisions, what we were optimizing for, and what the data says about the Xbox strategy today, Sharma said to Windows Central. That's the honest answer. I'm looking at lifetime value, not just what happened in a previous moment or in short-term efficiencies and things like that. The plan's the plan until it's not the plan. Well, Mike, the plan has been to get these games on other platforms as quickly as possible. Forza Horizon 6, coming to PlayStation 6 after being on Xbox exclusively for a handful of months. Sounds like the same thing should be true for Fable. So if they are going to shift back to having exclusives, what does that even look like?
Uh, I don't think it looks like anything because games are too expensive now. Even
Yeah,
Sony, the best that they're going to do is switch back to what Sony has, which is hey, you get a year, and then maybe we'll bring it to PS5. But I don't think they're going back. I think the games cost too much to develop, and there's too much in there unless they like drastically change how they make games in terms of cost.
yeah,
Uh, Maybe you get again like a Halo that is like a year before it jumps to PlayStation 5. But if everyone knows in the back of their head that it's
right.
going to jump to PlayStation,
You're not going to change player behaviors based on that. Yeah,
right? So then you're still kind of locked in. Whereas like Sony, even Sony is opening a little bit, bringing stuff to PC like a year later, but that's still not bringing stuff to Xbox. Um, and Microsoft would like have to cut off that vector, and I don't think they can.
yeah.
Like Call of Duty needs to come to pretty much everything.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that's not a question. Minecraft continuing to be everywhere. Yep.
like they just own so much, and so much of that needs to be everywhere.
And
Uh,
also like when they're looking at when she goes and looks at this stuff and gets this data, like she says she's going to, and she's like, okay, so we have the Xbox console, and we want to build that up using exclusives. I understand that concept, but like let's just look over here. We have Call of Duty and Minecraft and King and all these things that make a lot of money, and a lot of Blizzard games that make a lot of money, and all of those are available everywhere, including mobile in many cases. Um, why would we want our future endeavors with Xbox to be less like that? We want everything to kind of be more like these things that are everywhere and make a ton of money. That's the success story. I just see it like anyone coming in from the outside is going to look at that and assess it immediately as we want stuff to be more like the big live service games, which is what executives have been deciding for a long time now. So it's like I don't have a lot of faith that things are going to change here once she sits down and like gets learned up on this. On the other side, I really someone should have briefed her that the plan's the plan until it's not the plan is just the last thing someone out of Xbox needs to be saying, because that's been the plan. The plan is the plan until it's not the plan has been the plan for Xbox for 15 goddamn years now, where it's just wait and see. We'll see if this works. If it doesn't, don't worry. We're going to try something else. Just wait and see. And if it didn't work out this year, just wait till next year. And that's what Xbox fans have been lamenting consistently for like since the Xbox 360 days. And it just sounds like that's going to continue as well. But okay, she's going to go get learned up on this, Mike. Do we expect her to come back with any different answers than what we've
no,
seen?
no, there's no way. Again, like I said, maybe you Halo or Gears, and you try to keep that exclusive for like a year at best or something like that.
Yep.
But one, that assumes that the game that you release is amazing. So there you get a payoff to holding it for a year. And then two, again, if players know like, oh, I mean, it'll be coming for like another year, then they'll probably just wait. Again, there are some PC players that wait out PlayStation exclusives just because now they're like, it's going to come to PC.
Yeah, and like it's we talked about changing player behavior. That is something that is so difficult to do in best case scenarios. People want to do the thing that is the path of least resistance, and a lot of people have already paved a path in their lives to buying games on PC or PlayStation, and also they've glimpsed a world where it felt like Xbox was going to blink out of existence. These past couple of years, as Xbox has struggled, it's been very easy for every consumer to imagine a scenario where Xbox goes away. And then what happens to all those games that you purchased, especially digitally, is a very easy follow-up question to ask. And everyone's considered. They're like, oh man, that would be bad. I would not like the way that would feel. Why would I begin making purchases over there? understanding how, like, the consequences of those decisions if this all goes belly up. Now, it doesn't feel like it's going to go belly up, but it's just why even begin to shift your behavior if you can do something that feels a little bit more guaranteed to be safe long term. That's certainly PlayStation and definitely Steam. So yeah, I just think Microsoft has such an impossible hill to climb there to get on the other side of that. That it would take years of sustained positive results, like you mentioned,
Right.
to make any dent in that.
Yeah, and there was an interview with GamesBeat and the Xbox guy, Seamus Blackley.
Seamus Blackley, yeah. Dean talked to Seamus, yeah.
And Dean talked to him, and what's the quote I have right here? Uh, from Microsoft, Satya Nadella has made an incredible number of bets and invested an incredible amount of money and credibility in transform model AI future. Xbox, like a lot of businesses that aren't the core AI business, is being sunsetted. They don't say that, but that's what's happening. I expect that the new CEO, Asha Sharma, her job is going to be as a palliative care doctor who slides Xbox gently into the night. And the part of that like opening, like that's where he starts this interview.
Yep.
That sounds right, is the fact that Microsoft is betting pretty heavily in AI and torpedoing a lot of the bigger parts of the company, and Xbox is really not one of the bigger parts of the company. So
Exactly.
the fact that they're hurting the consistent strong money makers, and then to expect that they're not going to make some of the same moves for Xbox, especially given the fact that Asha comes from the AI side, it just doesn't breed true.
Yep. Yeah. Like, this does feel like all these answers she's given. Like, I'm glad you kind of let us here, because all these answers we've given that we have so far discussed as reading to be literally true, her literal meaning, this is what is going to happen. I instead, in actuality, read it all as bedside manner. Like, it all comes across as, this is what you say in this moment, and you try to make it as true as possible, but you know the actual truth, which is this is a patient that you cannot save. Yeah, what does that mean? It transforms into, they want to keep as much of the positivity towards Xbox and the nostalgia for it as possible. That is why they're talking this way. They're not going to just cut it off, but it's going to become pretty apparent here really soon, I bet, of what is really happening to just about everyone, if it hasn't been already, which it probably has. And in those moments, all this talk won't matter anymore. It'll just have been talk. You brought it up, the AI side of it. Xbox boss on AI. This continues. We're committed to art made by people. This is from Blair Marnell at GameSpot. Less than a week ago, a leadership shakeup at Xbox saw Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer retire and Xbox President Sarah Bond step down. In Spencer's place, Asha Sharma, the former boss of Microsoft's core AI division, will now lead Microsoft Gaming. However, Sharma and the newly promoted Xbox CCO, Chief Content Officer, Matt Booty, want to assure fans that the former's background doesn't mean that Microsoft is pushing for more AI in games. They say in a quote, "We've got no pressure from Microsoft. There are no directives on AI coming down," Booty told Windows Central. "Our teams are free to use any technologies that might be beneficial, whether it's helping write code or check for bugs. Things more in the production pipeline. At the end of the day, as Asha said, we're committed to art made by people. Technology is only in support of that." And yeah, again, another thing you just kind of say, right? This feels like the I drank your milkshake strategy, where we'll just surround the people making our games with AI, and then when they go in any direction for any tool, we will be waiting for them with our AI stuff, so that more of them are on Copilot, so our numbers feel even better, and we can feel even better recommending it to people. And when our people use it, we can improve it based on their telemetry data and all this stuff. Yeah, and I think that's a very easy thing to say as a company that has repeatedly seen that you can't force a horse to drink water, and you can only lead them there, and you kind of lead them there by sort of making it very enticing. That's what they did with the Xbox strategy, where they learned they couldn't just make an Xbox One that was all the things they wanted to be in terms of lockdown and not playing used games and all that stuff. They sort of had to lead us there the back way by making digital more appealing and Game Pass and things like that. So Yeah, no pressure to use AI, but Mike, what do you think?
I mean, it's pretty much like there's no pressure to use AI, but as you said, if you are a current Windows user, you know that it is everywhere.
It's in
In fact, if
everything.
you're a current Gmail user, like it's like, oh man, I have accidentally hit the AI mode on my Android phone so many
Uh-huh.
times because they put the buttons there. There's no way to get around it.
Yeah, the
Um,
power button does that instead of turning the thing off. That's so stupid.
yeah. So I think Microsoft, I don't think they're going to force it. And honestly, you look at any time AI does pop up and stuff, uh, it's bad.
Yeah.
So like they're I don't think they want to outwardly say anything about it, but internally, I don't think they're going to push it. I don't think they're going to say from the top down, you have to use AI. I know there are a lot of tech companies that are like that now, but they will be like, hey,
Yep.
we have a repository of uh, Microsoft owned concept art. Maybe just generate a couple images. You don't have to, but if you want to,
Yeah. And it's gonna things are like this is a little bit of an aside, but the reports that IBM's stock price plummeted because Claude Code from Anthropic was like, hey, we can do COBOL now.
COBOL, yeah,
We can do COBOL and like optimize the code and all this stuff. And it's like, oh, that's worrisome because there was already a dearth of people who actually understood COBOL, and now we're going to get to a point where it's like there's not a reason to learn it, so there will be a world where no one understands it except for the AI, and that's going to be bad because a lot of the world's financial systems runs on that code. It's scary. Yeah, and then like yeah, surrounding us in Windows with the AI stuff, Mike. I noticed when I hit the search button in Windows the other day, there's like a little box where they have like your tools and stuff, and you see the snipping tool or whatever. There's another one of those boxes now where it's like AI tools, and all of the logos look like old Windows clip art. I'm like, oh, this is how they're trying to signal to the old people that use Windows that they should also be using AI. They're making these really
yeah.
friendly looking icons and stuff. It's like they want to get everybody on this stuff because they've built their entire financial future on it. Yeah, they're not going to push these people on it. They will find ways to subtly do dark patterns to get people onto AI, especially at their game studios.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, a lot of these people in these studios, I mean, the industry has been hollowed out. A lot of these folks are just trying to keep their job.
Yep.
Um, so I don't think many will want to, but I think maybe they'll slightly lean into. Although,
What?
to be honest, Xbox's biggest problem feels like the fact that Microsoft doesn't really uh, rein in or direct any of its studios. Like you got
Not a strong
Microsoft and
voice, a central voice. Yeah, I think
yeah,
Matt. That was Matt Booty's job. So will that change? Who knows?
yeah, and that's been for probably like the last decade. Like Microsoft will buy up a studio and just let them sort of do whatever, and that's probably their problem. And then you got the flip side, you got PlayStation, and they're the opposite.
Hmm.
They will pick up a studio and then they'll be like, you are this, and
Yep.
this is what you are doing for ill or for good, as
Send
we
in
were
a
saying now.
mercenary team from Bungie to say why your game needs to be canceled. Yeah, exactly. It's rough.
So, so yeah, I like again, I don't think they're going to say to studios, okay, you have to use AI because again, they're not really. It doesn't feel like pushing studios to do anything in particular. Um, but if you set up enough of your organization, your internal processes to sort of just nudge you in that direction.
I mean, we know what happens. It's this kind of the thing that was happening with Blue Point, where it's like if the studio knows that their project is more likely to get greenlighted going in the future, because like you said, who knows how it worked before this, but it sounds like going in the future things might change. And if you have a chance of getting your project greenlighted, if you say something about it involving AI, and you know that increases the likelihood that you're going to get the budget you need to get the team size that you need to actually get your project made for 5 years so you could secure your job. Yeah, you bet a lot of these studios will find ways to incorporate that stuff in there because, yeah, they're just trying to keep their jobs.
Yep.
All right. Let's take a break. That does it for the Xbox talk. Thankfully, we'll talk about something else when we get back. If you want to skip out on these ad messages that we're about to go to, we do have ad-free versions of this show on Giant Bomb. If you go to giantbomb.com/join, you can find the audio and video file there. In the meantime, we will be right back. All right, we're back. It's Game Mess Mornings. MH Williams, Jeff Grubb, getting back into it. Let's do this next story here. PlayStation 5 and PC players can try PlayStation's 2 big upcoming live service games this weekend. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. PlayStation has confirmed that a closed playtest for its newly announced multiplayer spinoff, Horizon Hunters Gathering, will take place this weekend. The test will run between Friday, February 27th and Sunday, March 1st on PC and PS5, and to join, you'll need to sign up for the PlayStation Beta program. There's like a website link. You have to kind of throw your name in and hope that you get selected. But yeah, that's going to be happening this weekend. I'm like kind of interested in checking this game out. I want to just play it because I think just looking at it, I'm like, I don't know. It looks neat. It looks very different, but I'm not sure if it'll be my kind of game. Kind of just need to get my hands on it. The other game happening here simultaneously is the other big release from Sony, Bungie's Marathon. It is running its open preview weekend from February 26th through March 2nd, and then the game will close back down and come back as a paid game a few days later. So everyone get a taste, I guess. How are you feeling about either of these projects, Mike?
Oddly enough, I'm more interested in Hunter's Gathering, but even then, I'm kind of like, I mean, I can see why you're doing this, but a lot of my live service, and the big problem with all of the live service and the Sony's live service push is most of our live service time is already accounted for.
Yep.
Like I play WoW, I play FF14, I play Fortnite. So like my time is in the buy-in on those platforms in terms of time and money is already significant. So pulling me over to something new is, as a new live service is pretty difficult. And of the Sony things, the only thing that I probably would have played live service, I'll play Ghost of Yotei Legends because I like Tsushima Legends a lot. But that was sort of like a side add-on. I would have liked that Spider-Man online game. I think
I know.
I really would have.
There's a Spider-Man remastered mod that makes it multiplayer that I'm like, I keep planning to play on this website, and eventually I just got to make that happen because I want to do it real bad.
Yeah, and that was from the leak, and they apparently just decided to walk away from it.
Yep, it's not going to do it.
Yeah, which is fine. The logic for walking away, but that was probably the live service game I probably would have played from Sony. Hunter's Gathering, it looks cool. I just I don't have the time. And Marathon, that art direction is so good, and I so wish they had just done a single player game for it. I'm sorry, developers. I know you, and I hope it goes well for you. But like Arc Raiders, I think probably took a lot of that thunder. I was into Arc Raiders in the beginning for a little while there, and then just tapered off, and that was great. So you're like, games always launch into a very specific context, and they are launching into a world where there's these existing large live service games, and there are games like Arc Raiders that are doing the same thing, or like Hunt, or the original, Escape from Tarkov, and what they really have is that fantastic art direction and the fact that it's Bungie. So it's going to play fantastically, but like, is that enough? I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't know either. I think This test will be not make or break, but it could make it actually. If people come out of this test talking very highly about it, and everyone's like, "Oh, I cannot wait to get this real thing." If it's the Call of Duty 4 beta, the play test coming out of E3 that one year, where it's like, "Oh, man, everyone got the free test and they couldn't wait to get the full game." If that happens here, that's possible. Like we could see that, and it could set this game up for huge success. And if it sounds like the most recent play tests from people playing in other regions were all like much more positive than the early play test. So yeah, I think we could have a little bit of a redemption story here for Marathon. But we'll have to see if that's how it actually plays out. We'll get a good glimpse of that this weekend. For Hunter's Gathering, I'll be curious to kind of just hear the early word. I want like, especially from people who like those kinds of games. I think this is a Monster Hunter like. Maybe light is a better term. Kind of want to just see what people think in terms of how this game is going about that. All right, Final Fantasy VII just got a new version, and fans are not loving it. This is from Devin McClure at Polygon. Though players are still waiting for the third installment of the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy, there's now a new version of the original game they can sink their teeth into. This definitive edition of Final Fantasy VII has replaced the 2013 release of a re-release of the game on the Steam store, and so far fans are not very pleased with its quality, citing performance issues and strange visuals. The original version of Final Fantasy VII was released in 1997, claiming a place in history, blah, blah, blah. As far as this one goes, fans are currently not enjoying the updated version of the game. At the time of writing, the new Final Fantasy VII has 281 reviews on Steam and sits at a consensus of mostly negative. Reviews point out a myriad of issues that, like the increased frames per second messing with the speed of fights, blurry graphics, and the game not even launching to begin with. Multiple patches have already been released for the game, and a few reviews have been updated to reflect some of the speed issues being addressed. But so far, the new version of Final Fantasy VII is off to an incredibly rocky start. Man, this feels like this is happening more and more frequently, where these specifically like old ports or old remasters come out and have weird issues. Skyrim on Switch being a recent example of this, although apparently Fallout 4 ran really well when it launched on Switch 2 just recently. What do you think?
I mean, it's wild that they are so many companies are making this mistake. Like PC players are, and I say this as a primarily PC, we are insane.
We're insane.
And that's just like on the bare minimum level. So what you needed to do was launch this and have it come out like exactly the same as the other one. And notably, the PC port of Final Fantasy VII was, when it launched, terrible, like plagued with bugs. They had to patch it to hell and high water just to get it to a decent state. So this is like a repetition of that, when it was just really supposed to be like the same thing. Like for a while, the executable was missing. Then you have the game speed issue. Then people were noticing that the resolution, like it's stuck at 4:3, even though the previous version you could change the resolution. So it's just like at the very least, you needed to reach back to what you had in the store before. But you're launching it on PC, and again, we are insane. So you needed to do something just to even make it like amazing, like a normal PC. The PC players are expecting a lot of resolutions. They want to be able to put it on widescreen monitors. They want to like super
FOV
wide
slider, even if it doesn't make sense for the game. Yeah,
right. They wanted HDR, probably, like options and stuff like that, which, to be honest, Square wasn't going to do, but that's the expectation. Like that's how PC players are. Maybe you could have done this on console, but it's and then of course it similar to the Yakuza issues. It replaces the original executable, which is not a problem for people who already own the game. But
exactly that's worth pointing out that like, if you already owned that version, you get this update for free, and it's a separate game. You can then go back and install the old version if you want, which I bet has a ton of like mod support at this point, and you probably have reasons to want to go back to it. But if you wanted to go buy that version now, you can no longer do that. You can only access this new version.
Yeah, and so it's they released a version that is not even just the bare minimum, and then they also took something away. And I don't know why they do this. Just like release a second executable, a second thing
And
on the
it's like not
Steam store.
compatible. Like the save file from one game doesn't go to the other one. So if you had a game that
Correct.
if you were playing it on that previous version, now you're trying to switch over here, you have to start over. It's a fully different executable, like completely different. It's a bizarre thing that they're doing.
Yeah. Just stop taking games away, especially like it's only going to look bad. And also, you're probably going to make a mistake somewhere in the PC port, unless you got like Durante or somebody, working on it, like
Yeah.
the Falcom games or something like that. I just it's a rough place out there. Even though like when they dropped it, I like said on the social, so I was like, oh, that's cool. And then just you could see the groundswell like coming
Yeah.
on Reddit and the reviews. I was like, oh God.
Yep, got hit by it like a train. Absolutely, that's how it goes. Yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles X being another example of this from the chat, but that one's $5. So people are like, I'm gonna go get a refund from Nintendo because this thing is garbage.
Right.
I mean, all these things get updated and fixed eventually for the most part, and I expect that in all of these cases. Uh, but why is it happening repeatedly, back to back to back? It feels like they are letting like they want to do these remasters, they want to do these re-releases, they want to do these ports, but they just don't want to put in the effort to get those things right because they are not a high priority. And it's like, you should probably either not do it or get it right the first time. All right, last couple of stories here. Discord delays global age verification following enormous backlash. This is from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor. Discord, like many other websites and services where you might come into contact with adult content, already requires age verification over in the UK. Outside of this rainy hellhole, however, you're free to log on as you please and see what you like. That was about to change with Discord rolling out age verification across the globe, but it seems that now that these policies are going to be delayed. We knew this rollout was going to be controversial, reads a message on Discord's site. Anytime you introduce something that touches identity and verification, people are going to have strong feelings, rightfully so. In hindsight, we should have provided more detail about our intentions and how the process works. Many of you walked away thinking we're requiring face scans and ID uploads from everyone just to use Discord. That's not what's happening, but the fact that so many people believe it tells us we failed at our most basic job, clearly explaining what we're doing and why. That's on us. The message continues that the age verification will be delayed until the second half of the year, but it is still happening. If that's a deal breaker for you, as it was before, this might not change your thoughts. However, Discord is doing its utmost to convince us this isn't such a bad idea. 90% of users won't see any changes, as their age will be determined by some behind-the-scenes technology. Basically, if you've ever used a GIF from like the first two seasons of The Simpsons, like you're good. They're not going to check. It sounds like they were kind of saying the same thing they've been saying, Mike, where it's
Yeah.
like we are doing this. You guys don't understand exactly what we're doing. It's not as bad as you're making it sound, but we are gonna be keeping track of your identity back here, whether you like it or not, and whether you give us your ID or not. We'll have some idea of who you are and what age you are, and that was always the issue that people had. It was never
Yep.
like even just scanning the ID. It was all of this technology in the first place. And they're just delaying it till the second half of this year. It's still coming. So what do you think? Does this buy them some time to better explain it? Because I don't think that's going to help them.
There's no better way to explain it. Like, this is going to happen regardless, just because they're trying to comply with the growing number of regional age
Yeah,
restriction
10
laws.
states have various laws of this stripe. Yes.
Right, and Australia already started, in social media, age restriction. The UK is talking about it. Like a bunch of regions are doing this.
There's a state
Uh,
senate somewhere that like has some people proposing age verification to use Linux and Windows. So that's fun
yeah,
too.
so it's like they are sort of stuck with it, but also it's some bullshit. At least in this case, so Discord already had a hack that lost some of this. This previous one was in October. and it was actually related to one of their third-party service providers for
Right, but it
their
was data they took, that
support
Discord took.
stuff. Yeah,
Yes.
it was their customer support side, and if you had happened to send information to them, uh, like government IDs, stuff like that, while you were trying to get support on Discord, some of that information got out. But I mean, that's the thing, right? Like in this situation, part of the backlash was that it's happening at all. Part of the backlash was the third party company is aligned with Peter Thiel, which means it will probably be aligned with the government, and people just don't want to give their information away. Like it's a complete non-starter, and they're delaying it and hoping that maybe something will happen.
Yeah.
Uh, but there's
Like
nothing.
some other controversy happens somewhere else, and we just ignore it and we forget about this while they quietly pass it later in the year or something like that. Yeah, like they turn
Right.
down the temperature for a little bit and hoping to find the right moment to strike later. We know like this is always worse than these companies make it out to be. It is the worst case scenarios. The people, the Chicken Littles yelling the sky is falling, have been proven correct over and over and over with this stuff. I don't have the exact details, but I believe Google just recently settled a lawsuit with
Yes.
regulators where it's like, hey, you know that time when everyone was like, boy, I was just talking to my wife about this thing, and then later in the day I heard an ad or I saw an ad on a website about that product that I mentioned. It feels like Google's listening to me, and everyone's like, no, they can't do that. They were, they did that. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, so the Chicken Littles were right. And with this Peter Thiel stuff and Palantir, of course it's going to be the worst case scenario. That guy is literally from hell. Like he's going to try to create hell on earth as best he can. And he's going to use the data in the most nefarious way possible, Cambridge Analytica style, to build profiles, to target people, to make them angry so that when it's time to vote, they're likely to make a decision against their best interest. And helping them by letting us talk to our friends for free on the internet, and ransoming that against us so that we are once again doing things against our best interest. Discord, you're part of the problem, and people are going to notice that and are definitely wised up on it at this point and going to get sick of it.
Yeah. And look, let's be honest, my data's out there. Our data's out there.
Oh yes, of
Someone already
course.
has it, but I
Yep.
don't want to give it to somebody else in order
Right.
to have another vector. I'd just rather not. And yes, they'll probably be like, they'll show like the CW or Upin show. Like who is this character and what show is it from? And if you answer it, they're like, you're 50.
Uh-huh.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah. Name that Pokemon, and it's a Gen 2 Pokemon. Yeah. All right.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
it's a non-starter. And I mean, hell, in my main Discord, I mean, you're on Giant Bombs on Discord and a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
My main Discord, we're like talking like, damn, what are we gonna do? Like, if this comes down, because like half of us are like, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Uh,
I definitely want to like wait and see because it's like I'm sick of having to like constantly migrate on
Move.
the internet. But it's like every time it is time to migrate, we're migrating over stuff to giantbomb.com, and it's like let's just build our home and keep our home in order, and
Yep.
that way we'll always have ground to retreat to. That they're trying to give us no ground to go to. And it's like, well, we'll build our own, and it's never going to be attached to these centralized networks that get huge. But we can at least keep a piece of the old internet alive and be happy to do that.
At
All right.
giantbomb.com/join. No.
That's right. /join. Get in there, everybody. Marvel's Wolverine for PS5 gets its September release date, September 15th. We talked about this on the Bombcast a little bit yesterday, but wanted to bring it up on Game This Mornings as well. Okay, yeah, that date's a little bit earlier than I was expecting, but I guess with GTA lingering, they might as well get it out as early as possible, right?
Yeah, I mean, September is like mid-September feels a bit early, but you want to avoid the GTA apocalypse, so this gives them like a good, couple months of sales before they have to really worry about, but they're also in line and placed and ready for the holiday season. So as soon as Black Friday hits, they can, drop it like $10 and get those sales if they can. So it's a smart day.
Yep.
To drop them. Again, yes, it does feel a little bit earlier, but also Sony uh, is just sort of dropping stuff whenever they
Yeah,
feel
it
like
does.
it.
Certainly does not affect them in any real way anymore. And they are the company outside of Rockstar and Take Two that stands to benefit the most when Grand Theft Auto 6 launches. So
Oh yeah,
that's one of the reasons why they could easily and without much of a fuss internally delay the PS6's launch, because it's like we'll just elongate this generation through the power of GTA 6, and that will likely have that effect on this. So yeah,
yeah, and the benefit of a game like Wolverine, and really most of PlayStation's first party efforts that aren't the live service side, is that the month that they have, the month and change before GTA drops, is about how long it'll take people to finish Wolverine. Like,
yep,
most of their games are like 20 hours main campaign, 30, 35 hours all in, and then you're done.
yep.
So that's not a problem for them at all. I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little wondering, they never did DLC for Spider-Man 2. There was no Miles Morales style game, so I'm looking forward to this. I'm real hungry for some Insomniac stuff, and I hope there's DLC or something for this
Yeah,
at
easily could
some
be.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, or I wonder like what characters they'll sort of have in there that they could potentially have an expand alone for or something like that. X-28 or
Yeah, and
something.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and the Insomniac leak sort of looms large all
Uh
over
huh.
this. Like, people have some idea of where they are going, but has that stuff changed?
It feels like it
Probably.
probably has. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
where's Venom? Venom probably still shows up, but where's Venom?
Yeah.
All right, that does it for the headlines. We did have a poll question from Monday. Let me get the results over here. I'm going to refresh, get the most recent results. If that will load, there it goes. Uh, all right, and then we have a new poll question we'll get to here in a second. In the meantime, though, let's see here. If you haven't purchased the Switch 2 yet, what will get you to do so? We had price drop, more first-party games, OLED version, and nothing. I will buy another one if it's an OLED version because I'm a sucker. 16% of people said they're waiting for an OLED version. 23% said they're waiting for a price drop. 33% said just more first party games, and 27% said nothing. So, yeah, price sensitivity has been the thing brought up most frequently. I think, Mike, a lot of people answering this question are trying to be sensible and recognizing it's very unlikely that Nintendo's going to drop the price. So instead, I need to feel like I'm getting a lot of value out of the system, and that value
Right.
comes from it having a lot of excellent first party exclusives, right?
Correct. Because one, Nintendo is probably not dropping that price ever in the best of times, and they are definitely not going to be able to drop it
Now, in the
as
worst of times, yes.
yes, in the worst of times. So people are hoping for the more value, and they're looking for those key pillars, which are, of course, Mario, Zelda, and probably at this point Smash.
Smash. Yep, definitely.
Um, so, I mean, we have Pokemon coming. Um, Mario Kart is out there. I don't know if World has the juice that 8 Deluxe did, but Mario and Zelda and Smash are probably like that's what people need to see, especially
Mhm. Yep.
some sort of new Mario game.
Yep, I think you're right. And all of those are absent so far. So once we start getting any of those, this weird period will probably help solve itself a little bit. Okay, new poll question. Do you think Xbox will bring back its console exclusive games? Yes. No, just kind of want to see how much we are buying into this, or even if you think it's possible, you feel free to answer yes. We'll get the results, talk about that on tomorrow's show. We'll talk about what's coming up on Giant Bomb here in a second. Before we do that, Mr. M.H. Williams, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet, if that's something you even want them to do?
You can find me on the internet on Blue Sky at mhwilliams.bsky.social. I have a number of URLs that I really should change that to, but I have not gotten around to it because I am lazy. That is where you will find me talking about, all the Next Fest games, movies, comics games, all that jazz. And if I do anything else, at some point I'm going to do a blog. It'll be there. So
Excellent.
that's where you can find me.
Well, I appreciate that. Speaking of what's coming up on Giant Bomb, as I was a moment ago, it's Wednesday. It's time to send Mike back into the Blight Club experiment. He's got to play Virtuoso. Blinking, you'll miss it. It's his Blightning Round game. It's episode 50, it feels like, and he's barely halfway through the game. He thinks he's not even halfway through the game. So, are you aware of the game Virtuoso, Mike?
I am not.
You should check this thing out. Yeah,
but
Google it.
I mean, the reputation of Blight Club precedes it. And for a second, I was a little worried because you said you have to send Mike into it, and I was like, "Oh God!" Like I did not agree to any of this.
You would look excellent in the Virtuoso wig, that's for sure. All right, well, that's happening later today. Later this week, we're going to have a lot of our normal shows, but we'll do a talkover for that Pokemon Day stream. So join us Friday morning. I believe that is 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. Come hang out with us for that. Otherwise, we'll see you for the normally scheduled events. And Marry Me Tomodachi happening on Thursday in the early evening time. Watch that as well. All right. Mr. M.H. Williams, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talk about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I absolutely enjoy doing this stuff, even though I'm on the other side now. And next time I will make sure to have the requisite, nerd background.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I didn't want to say anything, but yeah, you definitely failed us on that side of things. Yeah, you have an adult room.
All of that's downstairs. I'll at least get like a green screen up and put the picture of the downstairs for you guys.
Want a live stream of it in case anything falls off a shelf or something. That sounds good. I appreciate that, man. Thank you once again. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening at home. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.